Good morning, folks. I don't rehearse these. I don't plan these things. Sometimes I get driven by the Holy Spirit. Sometimes I just can't stop thinking about something on my own. We need some unitifying. I like that. We need unitifying priorities. Unitify. We need to unitify over mass shootings and school shootings. I don't trust the news. I don't trust the reporting. I don't trust how they're presented to us. I don't trust the body count. That's right. I don't trust the body count. There's no independent forensic evaluations. The forensic studies are not made available, and they should be made available. They should be made available completely. At the very least to physicians, and I don't like empowering those jackasses. I think they should be available to the average man and average woman. And you're going to say, oh my God, don't they have a right to privacy? Hey, it's a crime scene. What right to privacy is there in a crime scene? None. So I call bullshit and say, oh, we have to do that for the protection of the family? And you want to legislate on this shit and you're not going to tell us what this shit is? Doesn't hold water. So we need full access to the forensic records so we can make a determination. Are they crying bullshit again? Is there really a death here? Did they make this shit up? Yeah, did they make it up? That's my question. Did they make it up? I don't know. We don't know. You don't know. Don't tell me you do know. Unless you're one of those making it up, then you really do know. So I propose we make all forensic studies, including on the children, fully public. There's no right to privacy of the family. It is a crime. A crime must be investigated. The public must have full access. Or it didn't happen. Yeah, she's laying down on the job barking. Yeah, they really take you seriously when you bark from the couch like that. Okay. She's serious about her business. My God, I had to leave the car running the other day with the air conditioner going. I popped the door on the kennel figuring, well, she might as well be free because if anybody opens the door to get into this car, she's all that's going to be saving it. You know, it's not a luxury car. Yeah, I miss having a luxury car, but I don't miss the bills. I don't miss that at all. And Porsche knows how to hand you the bills. I mean, keeping that damn thing going cost me a hell of a lot more than any rent did, ever. I know some of you think you have high rents. Well, my car maintenance was costing me more than your rent every month. And I couldn't stay ahead of it. Poor shit. Keeps a man poor. Fun car to drive. Let's get into unifying the nation. We have mass shootings and school shootings. I spent probably a solid, I thought I spent around $50 on postage, but I know it wasn't that much. The only thing is that the price on a postage stamp went up twice while I did that. I was writing on old stamps at 49 cents. At the end, they were 69 cents. There's no inflation. And that happened over, a 6-month period? There's no inflation. Right. You need to compromise. You need to agree that our children have value and their lives are worth defending. If not, then you're a piece of shit and you should be kicked out of the country. You shouldn't be allowed to be a citizen. Why should you be allowed to vote if you're that much of a dumbass that you will not allow us to protect our children? That's the anti-gunners. They refuse to allow us to protect the children. Even Lorraine agrees. You can hear her. Thanks again for tuning in to me, folks. My name is Dr. John Taylor Kent. I'm running to be president. You're a benevolent dictator, a party of one. I actually got one person that agreed to be my handler. You know, you got to have a Jewish handler to be an American president. You do know that's in the Constitution, right? That's required. So I made sure to ask this brainy chick out of Louisiana. Well, she's out of Louisiana. What can I say? Don't they all have colorful pasts? What are you upset about, huh? Good girl. Wag your tail. Good girl. We need to do both. Take the guns away and put the guns in the schools. I mean, if you want to get serious about this, then let's unite and let's do it together. We cannot do it separate. The anti-gunners can't pull off jack shit and make it happen. They can't protect the children. And the pro-gunners, they can't do it either. Neither group can win on this alone. You gotta join forces. You gotta get in bed with your enemy. You have to love the guy. You have to love that woman that wants to take your guns away. You have to love that man that wants to protect your ass with a gun even though you're a dumb anti-gunner. Okay? You gotta have all that going for the children. And if it only saves one child, how many times have we heard that? So why can't we craft up effective legislation? Why can't we submit emergency legislation? A one-page clean bill. I think that's all it would take, to be honest with you. I think I found the perfect armament to defend children with. It's used to defend your frickin' presidents. Now, which is more valuable to you, your presidents or your own children? And you're not willing to defend your own children? Wow. So as far as putting guns in the hands of the good guys, it's pretty easy. You know, you mainstream the guns a little bit more. I say you put teams of 2 operators. I'm not going to call them shooters because they ain't shooting. They're operating. They're on the scene prepared to operate. Well, they're operating. They're prepared to shoot. And we don't give them these little puny, pew, 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 one pull the trigger, one round stuff. No, we give them real protective. Well, then we give them the same thing they used to protect our damn presidents with. Designed in 1990. Small caliber with a short barrel. I hate to say short barrel because they want to license that stuff and restrict that stuff from us. But the nice thing about having a short barrel on that is that it's actually balanced. That's the way the engineers designed that action to work, was with a 10.3-inch barrel. Now, you come around the corner with a 10.3-inch barrel and somebody tries to grab hold of that thing, they're going to have their hand getting shot off because there's no barrel to grab hold of. And if your operator's always got his gun, or her gun, I think women should be doing this too. Young women paired up with an older dude, be about the perfect team. You know, you've got both genders on the spot. You've got young and you've got old. You've got somebody who's seasoned, hopefully, that's led men into combat and knows how bad it is to get hit and what can happen. And you got a young woman who's got real good hand-eye coordination, good instincts, killer instincts. You know, don't mess with Mama Bear. Don't you screw with Mom. She'll kill you. She's got a better hand-eye coordination and she's faster. You put teams of 2 in there. They cover each other's backs. And then you also put in some concealed handgun action among the staff or the teachers. For Christ's sake, the janitors can take over that job. What the heck? I mean, they're always there. They know the school's probably better than the principals do, better than anybody else. I like that idea. Arm the janitors. You don't trust them to clean up? Good Lord. Imagine the first janitor that takes out a shooter. Oh my God. Maybe I'll even get lauded for the idea. Yes, I'm known as Dr. John Taylor Kent. I'm a retired corrections clinical psychologist. I know it's a mouthful to say, but the fact is that I worked in a big house for a little while. long enough to hone my skills and get them extremely sharp and to learn how wickedly corrupt this entire nation is. Yeah, I got a view from underneath. The inmates educated me quite well. They looked out after me. They had a lot of respect for Dr. Kent. Why? Because Dr. Kent did his job right. They knew if they had a problem, they could turn to Dr. Kent, and he'd take care of it. Didn't matter what it was, he'd take care of it. And even these hard guys that didn't want to show up at the yard office because they didn't want to be accused of being snitches would show up. And they knew all it took was a word from them, and I was on to it. I wasn't going to let anything go down on my yard if I could avoid it. So they turned to me. And they gave me a hell of a reputation, too, but that's all right. It's another story. Look, what you need to know is you're going to have to do both. Now, you put the guns in the schools. A P90, by the way, is selectable fire. It has a full automatic position in it. That's why you and I can't own it and have it, because our government decides they're too dangerous. But the law enforcement can have them all over the place in the country. That ain't right. So I say we put the P90s in the schools. It's a small cartridge. It has a limited range, enough so you can reach out there. Get rid of this message. And I want you to back my idea. I want you to take this idea. I want you to share this video. I want you to post it on social media. And yeah, I put up on every one, Kent for president, in parentheses, BD, that's my political party. Benevolent dictator. It's such an exclusive party. There's only one person allowed. Nobody else is good enough. But I got a Jewish handler. She's female. Come on, folks, get a sense of humor. I think it's funny as hell. And the crazy thing is, if I really asked her to check me and balance me, she'd do it. You know what I mean? She'd become motherly and do that kind of crap like only a Jewish mother could do. I miss my Jewish adopted mother. She went to Israel, and she told me those people over there, they're crazy. Abby didn't need to say another word to me. I took her at her word. She'd been over there. She knew what she was talking about. So, you put P90s in the schools, you require them to carry 3 extra magazines. That's only 200 rounds total. I think they can handle whatever they need to. It is a selectable fire, so if the operator determines that one shot is what's necessary to put down this threat, to neutralize it, to stop it, they can just pop out one. Or they can put it full auto, empty the mag if they have to, but hopefully just a burst. That's all it should take. And there's a wide range of ammunition available for P90. It is a NATO standard cartridge, by the way. There's even frangible rounds that disintegrate, that don't overpenetrate. There's risk in everything. But do you want to protect the children? Okay, that's the first part. The second part's very important. We have observed over the years that all of these mass shooters, well, not all of them, but close to all of them, and virtually all of the school shooters, have been on one class of psychiatric medications. I know it's not street drugs, but the withdrawal from these things can be as bad, and for some people it's worse. It's very idiographic, meaning it's very individual. It is not a standard withdrawal. It is not a standard effect across peoples. So what we have found, though, is that the medication, the shooters are on this stuff. We've watched it since the 1990s. They've been on these things. And the psychiatrists, which I hate, I loathe, they used to have like one psychology class in med school, and that made them a goddamn expert in the mind. Bunch of glorified jackasses. Talk about narcissism. They're good for something. Okay, there's a couple of good things about them. It's more than one. But this one thing was really important. Somewhere along the time of about 2005, 2010, 2015, the psychiatrists had come to a conclusion. Those practicing on the front lines realized that people who took SSRI, so called antidepressant psychiatric medications, long term lost the ability to love, weren't able to have enjoyment. They didn't feel the lows. It chopped the lows right off, so they didn't feel that depressive problem. But it chopped the highs off too, so they lost their joy. And they couldn't love another human being. They couldn't attach in a positive, favorable manner. And it also sears their conscience, in my opinion, because when you get down to it, at least 90% of the serotonin is in the gut, and you cut that enteric nervous system off from the rest of the brain. Where the hell do you think your conscience is? Your gut instinct. Your guts will twist and turn on you if you're doing something you shouldn't do, or something's being done to you that should not be done. They will give you grief as well. It's a fully integrated being. It's not separate. Your soul and your mind and your body are not separate. We separate those in our language, but they aren't separate. And I could probably wax poetic on this for quite a bit. But the big deal is when a man or woman is on treatment for an SSRI, they become prohibited. We do emergency legislation. I know it's an infringement from one perspective, but it's worth it because it'll cut the school shootings probably completely out. This program of mine is designed to stop it completely. I don't think it'll succeed, but it's going to get real close. And it will help reduce the mass shootings as well. Again, more than half of all the mass shootings will be by the wayside. And we have real good statistics on that. So we can observe that. We can measure that. We can come up with the numbers of shooters. We can come up with the number of bullets, on those things. We can come up with the medications used as well. If we go back to the past records, we can see the medications clearly. Yeah, I know. Drug companies want to protect their product and give a shit about us. That's why they use Greek language. Yeah, they do that because Latin isn't safe enough. They got to use a second language so that people don't understand the frauds and the bullshit they're pulling on us. Yeah, they don't want you to know that they're not diagnosing the condition, the cause of it, that they're just treating the symptoms and ignoring the cause, which they know, which they could treat and cure and knock right out. But no, we treat the symptoms only. They're a bunch of liars, thieves, and murderers. As physicians are. It's really simple. We saw a bump up in the suicide rate because we suicide ourselves at about twice the rate we killed the other son of a bitch at. So we, back when it was a stable culture, mind you, a few decades ago, we were killing ourselves at a rate of about 20,000 a year. Whereas we killed the other son of a bitch at a rate of only 10,000 a year. Only 10,000 homicides a year compared to 20,000 suicides. And what we noted right away was the bump up in suicides. It wasn't much, but it was enough. We stopped counting at number 554 Prozac-assisted suicide. I didn't pay any more attention to it. We made a determination that the bump up in energy given by this stimulant kind of medication, this so-called antidepressant, was enough to give the son of a bitch enough energy so that they could rise up and be successful in committing their suicide. Now, I've ruined a lot of suicides in my life, a lot of suicidal practices I got in there and I interfered with. I prided myself on that son of a bitch. I wasn't going to let anybody suicide. I was going to get right in there and put the screws to them. And believe me, I was real direct. My God, I remember one client in particular. I'm sure she's deceased by now. She was a lot older than I was. Everybody was worried that she was going to do it. I wrecked that party for her real good. She was a sweetheart. She was so doggone innocent. Some of the stories she told me make me cry when I retell them today. They didn't make me cry back then. I was doing my job. I'm too sensitive to practice now. Yeah. Probably too sensitive to be your president because you need another lying asshole who's going to tell you wonderful things and who's going to pull deep magic on you to fool your asses. Lie out of both sides of his mouth or her mouth, whatever the case may be. Not sure about the gender of anybody anymore, you know what I mean? Oh. You take the guns out of the hands of people while they are on SSRI medications. Once they complete their treatment, they can possess guns again. And you can have two professionals, which I think should be required, two separate professions, psychology and psychiatry. And I'm not saying you use a nurse practitioner or use a master's level person under the supervision of a damn psychologist. I'm trying not to use the GD word, but I don't like my kind very much. You stay away from me and my kind. We are dangerous. Most of us are stupid-ass libtards that force our bullshit off on you. And we don't even understand that we're projecting this negative process on your ass. In other words, we aren't doing much help for you. We're doing more harm than good. Except me. I'm in a class by myself. I am your benevolent dictator. That's what's going to take this to get this country out of where it's at. You can't do it with that Congress that's down there. Never happened. You can't do it with that bureaucratic government that's there that just weighs the whole thing down. You need somebody to go in there and chop up that government. Oh, I got a guy in mind. I got a friend in mind. He would not want to take the job, but he would do it to serve the country. By God, he'd do it. He'd do it for me. Oh, yeah. Brilliant man, smarter than I am. He'd do a better job of it than I would. So why not admit it? Why not delegate that power, that authority, and get it done right? Yeah, I got my hatchet man already picked out. How much of this government we want to cut down? Oh, you know, every time they threaten to cut the government down, they always keep a little bit of it going, right? Do you ever notice the difference? Does it make a difference for you? Doesn't make a difference for me in my life. I'd say that part that they shut down, we just shut it down, put it to sleep, kill it. Don't let it come back to life again. Just send them home. Tell them, go get real jobs, offering real value, making a real product. Stop leeching off the public and pretending you're working when all you're doing is doing your time to earn that luscious, wonderful retirement package that the average American can't get to. We ought to take all pay and benefits away from Congress for sure. But anyway, I digress. Another rabbit trail, another whatever. Another rabbit hole to go down to and another trail to follow. We take the guns out of the hands of those people on SSRI medications and those that are combinations of SSRIs. That's all we do. And we give it back to them after they've been certified as having been successfully terminated treatment. They'll be okay. And the drug companies are going to have a fit because they're not going to be able to make nearly as much money off this way. But until they get their heads out of their asses and start putting black box warnings on their products saying may increase homicidal ideation, may increase suicidal ideation, until they face the reality, we're stuck with this. So we have to do emergency legislation. It should unite the nation. You got the people who are pro-gun. Their boys and girls get placed in the schools able to do what they know they can do and protect our children. Yeah. We protect our presidents. Why can't we protect our children? And we know that the people on this SRI class of medications have a proclivity to dangerousness and doing stupid shit. Why can't we just momentarily take the guns out of their hands until they stop the treatment and they're certified as being safe to possess a firearm again? Yeah, I don't like it much. My friends don't like it much either. But it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because it'll save at least one child. That's not good enough? Well, how many children die every year in school shootings? How many people every year die in mass shootings? I don't have the answers to these. I really don't need to know. I'm brilliant enough to know that my idea will work. I'm brilliant enough to know that just do it. Don't worry about it. We can study it later. We will be studying it later. There's no doubt about that. I mean, heck, if I was your benevolent dictator, the FBI would be called on the carpet every month reporting that stuff. How many shootings this month? What were they on? What were the circumstances? Have the forensic reports been made available to the public yet? You see, I think they've been lying about most of this stuff. I don't know for sure. There's some things that's nice not to know. I don't believe the Pulse nightclub happened. Bunch of bullshit. I'm glad the gays armed up after that because I don't want to see anybody getting killed. Give a damn what their orientation is. You leave me alone. You stay out of the schools and you stop doing those damn reader hours and forcing your values on the children and confusing the children and exploiting the children, and we're okay. Otherwise, it's game on. And at some point, this society is going to have had its full of it. And remember, I already had the vision. Shooting across the whole country as the average man and woman took the trash out. I'm not looking forward to that day. My God, I want to be off somewhere on the hillside, the countryside. I don't want to be anywhere near those fireworks. Do I think it's coming? Yeah, I think it's coming. It's been coming since 1986. Okay, folks, it's your job to put an end to school shooting. The onus is on you. I have to pass this baton to you. I cannot do this alone. No, I can't. I need you to shove this down the throats of everybody out there. Shove it down the liberals' throats. We're putting the guns in the schools. We're using the same guns we used to protect our presidents because we're going to protect the children. And then we tell those gun rights people, well, if you're so depressed, you have to take this stimulant medication that screws people up so much that they seem to want to go off half-cocked and kill not just themselves, but other people and our children. Yeah. So where's your value system at? What's important to you? What do you value? I think it's cut and dried. But the Speaker of the House has my letter. He hasn't done anything on it. It is a unifying point. It brings all parties together. Pisses them all off. So what? I don't care if they're angry. I want success. I want to save some lives. I'm known as Dr. John Taylor Kent. I was a rescuer in my family of origin. It's my pathology. I was such a sick son of a bitch that I grew up and became a professional rescuer. So at this point, yeah, I want to save my country. I want to rescue it. Let's pull together on this one issue. You get this video out there. May Yahweh bless. This is number 133.